And one of my greatest lessons that I learned in starting and running Twitter and starting and running Square, which is how important it is to instrument all usage. You have to instrument everything. For the first 2 years of Twitter's life, we were flying blind. We had no idea what was going on with the network. We had no idea what was going on with the system, with how people were using it. We were making guesses. We were basing everything on intuition instead of having a good balance between intuition and data. And we were going down all the time because of it, because we could not see what was happening. So,
have you ever wondered what makes a successful entrepreneur? What drives them to build empires and change the world? In today's world of constant clutter and information overload, it's easy to feel overwhelmed and lose sight of what truly matters. But what if there was a key to success that went against the grain, embracing simplicity instead of complexity? Enter Jack Dorsey, the co-founder of Twitter and Square, who has built a reputation for his minimalist approach and focus on core principles. In this video, we'll delve into the power of simplicity and explore how it has been instrumental in Jack Dorsey's remarkable success.
my goal is to simplify complexity. I just want to build stuff that really simplifies our base human interaction. Twitter was around communication and visualizing what was happening in the world in real time. Square was allowing everyone to accept the form of payment that people have in their pocket today, which is a credit card. So we've built the simplest way to accept credit cards, and it's just this little tiny device that we give away for free, and you just download some software from the App Store and you plug it in to your mobile phone or your iPad, and suddenly you can take credit cards. So if you're a tax accountant or a lawyer or a doctor or even a hairstylist, you can now accept credit cards. It's really that the users help decide where we go. We are the curators of the technology, and we think we're pretty good at it. And this leads into my third lesson is, you need to listen. You need to be still and really listen to what's going on around you, and let that inform and let that inspire your next steps. It's really important that you're able to step back and listen to what's going on and what patterns emerge, so that you can really consider those and move them. I think that's one of the strongest things you can cultivate as an entrepreneur is to not rely on luck, but cultivating an ability to recognize fortunate situations when they're occurring. Odeo was a very fortunate situation. Could have taken that idea, not told it to Ev, not told it to Biz, not told it to Noah and all my other coworkers at Odeo, and tried to start my own company with that idea. But the fortunate situation was that I was working with some really amazing people, and we had a great team. So of course, it makes sense to start there. The fortunate situation for Square was that in 2008, the end of 2008, the entire market was crashing down. Like all of these abstractions we built upon abstraction upon abstraction upon abstraction in the financial world, which no single human understood, were now falling apart. And suddenly we were getting back to basics, back to fundamentals. Management teams were being asked to leave, banks were failing, people were clarifying around, like, we need to start getting innovative, we need to start treating our customers so poorly, we need to stop, encouraging bad behavior to reap fees. Like, we need to really turn this whole thing around. And anytime there's a recession or a depression, that's a great time to innovate, start a company, start a project, do anything. So, we recognize that time, and at the same time, my co-founder Jim, recontacted me. I've known him since I was 15 years old. He was my boss when I was 15 years old, and he's like, Jack, I want to talk to you. I want to build an electronic car company. I'm like, that's interesting. And he was thinking about it because the car industry was failing as well. And like, he was like, why don't we just give these car companies to well-seasoned entrepreneurs? Like, why don't we give Ford to Steve Jobs, and like, you know,
that would be amazing.
X, yeah, it would be amazing. And like, you know, GM to Ellison or like whatnot. He's like, and also I want to start an electronic car company. I'm like, you know, that's ambitious. But in that moment, we decided not to start an electronic car company, but we wanted to do something together. And we kept having these weekly conversations about what that thing was. And I was researching a lot with finance and healthcare because I was looking at, you know, doing something in those spaces. And Jim called me one day, one of us scheduled meetings, and he said, I just lost a glass sale. He's an artist, he sells glass. And I lost the sale because I couldn't accept a credit card. And here he was talking on his iPhone, his general purpose computer, and I was talking on my iPhone. He couldn't accept $2,000 from someone who wanted to pay him.
Right.
Like, why is that? So we decided that we wanted to answer that question, and we did a bunch of research, and I started writing some server code, and we hired a guy to write some iPhone code, and Jim built some hardware, and in a month we had a little, well, it was actually quite a big device that plugged into the audio jack of your iPhone and could swipe a card, take a payment. It would go through the merchant process and then generate a receipt with a map on it. And I went around, I showed it to a bunch of investors, and they were all amazed that it could even work. So we decided to really focus on it and make it a company. And it really just comes down to like recognizing that fortunate situation and recognizing the people around you that could help and just owning it. The biggest thing for me on that path is I need to draw something out, and I need to get it out of my head. I found myself very early on thinking about something, like, you know, thinking about this early idea for Twitter and saying to myself, I could build this awesome, you know, you have those like shower moments, or you're walking at midnight in some town in New York City and you've got these amazing brilliant ideas. And then you start thinking, well, I could really start doing this if only X, and if I had this person, or if this technology existed, or if this happened or this happened. And what I realized I was doing is I constantly making excuses for not working on it. And then the window had passed, and then I couldn't do anything. So I think it's really, really important to write it out, or to draw it out, or to code it. But you need to get it out of your head. And the reason you have to get it out of your head is you need to be able to see it on a surface that is not in your mind. And once you can see it, and once you can step back from it, then you can also decide, this is, you know, this passes my filter, passes my, you know, constraints. So maybe I can show it and share it with some other people. And then they'll be like, you know, that's the stupidest idea ever. Or, you know, that's somewhat interesting, but maybe this and this and this. So the sooner you can do that, then you have a lot of momentum around it, and you can, you know, really decide if you want to commit to it and work on it more, or put it on the shelf for a later date. And the realization that I think everyone needs to have about that latter option, putting it on the shelf, is that you can come back to it. And it'll surface back up in another piece of work or another idea at some point in your life. So, you know, having that ability to close off a chapter and move on is really, really important. You can't have all these open threads, and that's what I realized I was doing. And that also encouraged me to really write more, and to really think about, you know, what is the story? How are people coming to this? And like, when I show my friends this, how are they going to react? And I would write it down. I would actually treat it like a play. And when I realized that I was writing plays, I read a lot more plays, for style and for substance and for technique. And I think it's really good. And I think there's another company that I've always looked towards for inspiration. And I know a number of people in this room probably have this similar company in mind, which is Apple. Apple, I think, is run like a theater company. It has a great sense of pacing, has a great sense of story, and has a great sense of execution. And it's all event-driven. It's all stage-driven. The stage being a billboard, or the stage being a keynote, or the stage being a product launch. All of it has a very, very cohesive end to end story. I mean, you think about what happened when Steve Jobs came back to the company. The first thing he did is he killed every product line the company was working on. And for two years, they had no product on the market whatsoever. All they had were a bunch of posters all around the world with Steve's heroes. And it said, think different. And it was just focused on bringing up the brand and making people aware of the brand again and how the brand is aligning to this particular feeling and story. And then they came out with the iMac and then built iTunes and then the iPod, and they realized that, wait a minute, people are carrying music on their phones now, so we better build a phone, an iPhone. And so this unfolding of the plot and the epic story has been very, very interesting to watch, especially if you look back, to that time when he came back to the company. So I've learned a lot from that company and other companies who operate in a similar fashion.
Before we continue with our discussion, are you ready to turn your business dreams into reality? If yes, introducing our groundbreaking online courses in entrepreneurship. Cash Flow Academia, the ultimate guide to building a successful business from the ground up. From developing a rock-solid business plan to mastering digital marketing strategies, our comprehensive curriculum is crafted to meet the demands of today's dynamic market. Get ready to unleash your creativity, harness your potential, and take your business to new heights. Enroll now and embark on a journey of entrepreneurship that will redefine your future. Visit our website or click the link below to secure your spot.
I think the biggest thing for me, I think for all startups, is that it's really, really easy to consider any hire as like the length of the entire company. I think leaders of companies have to consider themselves editors, and you constantly have to edit the team. You constantly have to make sure that you have the best people in, and if there's any negative attribute within the team, person or element or otherwise, you have to part ways.
And deal with it right away.
Yeah, right away. I mean, you have to say, like, this is the best thing for the company, and to be fair to both of us, like, it's just not the right time for both of us. Like any other relationship, you need to be able to recognize what's good and what isn't optimal, and take action on it. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing that I would like with Twitter, like we grew very, very slowly, and we didn't edit the team in the best way. We didn't get out of the way of ourselves often enough. So that's something I would never do again. Constraint is a big thing for me, and this is something that we're constantly learning at Twitter as well. It's important to say no, and it's important to be able to easily say no. And there's many things you can do, and especially when you have a successful venture behind you, or you're running with it. It's really important to recognize, where you need to go, where you'd like to go, and really constrain the process and keep things really simple. In my dispatch days, we back in 1999, early 2000, we built something really cool. We loved it. And then we hired a CEO that didn't really match our personalities and didn't match our vision. And we grew the company very, very quickly. And that really scattered the focus of the company. So one of the things I've learned with Twitter is that, that singular focus, that do one thing and do very well.
And there you have it. Jack Dorsey's story is a powerful testament to the transformative power of simplicity. By embracing this principle, we can not only create more effective products and businesses but also live more intentional and fulfilling lives. So, take a step back, simplify, and unlock the potential that lies within. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more video updates.